Welcome everyone. My name is Kirin Taylor and I am recording this video on behalf of Taylor Adepoju Group, an emerging social enterprise. And today I'm teaching yoga for healing with the purpose of focus on happiness. So I'll get into all of that, but first, please make sure that you have water with you and that you're comfortable in your clothing and your setting around you. And as well as that, if you need a point of focus for some of these poses, I recommend getting an object that can help you. That's something that I find really useful when I'm doing yoga. Instead of just staring at some random mark on the wall, I normally will take something to stare at. For example, this is my peace pole, which says, "May peace prevail on earth," in different languages. So normally I plant this in front of my mat for somewhere to stare at, my drishti in Sanskrit. And yeah, so when you're ready and comfortable, you can come down to your mat into easy seated pose. This is basically like sitting crisscross applesauce. So as you come to your stillness, you can begin with just kind of coming back and forth to ground your sit bones and making sure that you're able to get some of that excess energy and nervousness of coming to class out before we start. So when you're ready, kind of wiggle your spine a little bit, coming to a straight spine with your shoulders down. I know a lot of us carry tension in our shoulders, so if you need to, you can roll them out a little bit backwards and then reverse to forwards. You can also shake out your arms at this point, shaking out your wrists and your little fingers. In this class, it's going to be really important to send energy through the fingers, so making sure that we are bringing awareness to our whole body as well and focus to our whole body. Okay, so then we can come to easy seated pose or Sukhasana. And at this point, your sit bones should be grounded, your spine is straight, your shoulders are down, and your hands can be placed with your palms down on your knees, your palms up on your knees, or with your index finger and thumb touching, which is a position which will open energy flow. So now this theme of today is to focus on healing and happiness. And the reason for this is bringing a focus component into happiness so that we can really feel it, because often happiness feels like a fleeting emotion. And when we are healing from something, it's sometimes really hard while we're in the process of trying so hard to get through the day, surviving, to really feel the bliss that's around us and within us. So today, that's what we're going to be focusing on. So I first invite you to take a very calming breath. Then release, 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 release. And now as you breathe in again, take a look around your room to see your surroundings. So it can be important for many of us to identify our points of exit and where our places of comfort are, including objects such as the point of focus and our water and our bathroom, these sorts of places. So once we've done that, we're going to go into a breath that will bring us a great amount of focus. It's actually one of its many benefits, but the focus comes a lot through the sound that it makes, which is actually similar to the Om sound. So this is the Bhramari or Honeybee breath. So this is done by breathing in and then breathing out with a sound. So it's not really coming from your throat so much as through your lips and your mouth. And it's also important to just breathe out the full amount of breath that's in your lungs. So don't feel like you need to force it or go too long, but rather just taking a really nice exhale or release right there. So together we're going to breathe in for 7 seconds and then release into our Bhramari breath. Let's begin. And if it feels good for you here, you can close your eyes, you can keep them open, whatever feels good. And we're going to repeat this breath 3 times. Okay, breathing in for 7 seconds or whatever length feels good to you. Breathing out Breathing in. Inhale as long as you can this time. Inhale, inhale, and release. Excellent. So keep breathing in and out as I explain this next breath work. The next one is called lion's breath in English, but in Sanskrit, this is Simhasana or Simhasana, depending on pronunciation. So with Simhasana, this is a really silly breath. So we're coming in here with a shift from focus to happiness, really experiencing a little playfulness and letting energy really flow through our bodies. So with lion's breath, you breathe in very deeply and you exhale using your mouth and throat to release almost with like a huge sigh. So this one actually stretches your mouth and your face, which is an area that oftentimes in any movement class is kind of left out. So with this, I'll give a demonstration first and then you can repeat after me. So breathing in for about 7 seconds. So I know it looks really funny, it might feel funny, but the point is to open up your mouth and release a lot of oxygen. So, or carbon dioxide rather. So coming in again, breathing in for about 7 seconds. Releasing. So let's do this twice more. Your shoulders should still be relaxed, your spine still straight, your sit bone still grounded. And if it hurts your throat at all, make sure you're making that noise kind of just as a sigh rather than anything throaty. Okay, so 2 more times, let's go. And the last time, exhaling all the way when you release. Nice. I hope you're starting to feel a little bit more silly, a little bit more loose as we go into our bunny breath. There's actually no Sanskrit word for this that I'm aware of. The bunny breath is basically a long inhalation through your nostrils with your mouth closed, and then breathing out several short bursts through your nostrils as well. So it's kind of like how the bunny is always moving their nose up and down. So I'll demonstrate quickly with a 7-second inhale. So it's really just short bursts of exhalation through the nose. And again, don't feel like you're forcing yourself to breathe out harder than you should. Just let it be a soft movement through you. Okay, so breathing in. Inhale. Very nice. Okay, so we'll try this one twice more at your own pace. Okay, very nice. So once you're ready here, we're going to come back just into the stillness of our bodies and begin with a healing chant. I really, really enjoy doing this chant, and it is in Sanskrit, so I will have that lyrics inside of the description for anyone who's a visual learner. Otherwise, just maybe try to feel the vibration, and if you're not familiar with it, you can come back to it later if it's something that resonates with you. Okay, So here, if it feels comfortable for you, I invite you to close your eyes as you sit up straight. Imagine that there's a string at the crown of your head that's bringing you straight up your spine to the ceiling. And if there's any excess energy in you, you can bring your spine side to side, maybe do some little circles so that we can really come to stillness for this chant. So reversing the circle. Okay, and when you're ready, here we are. Breathing in for Om. Om Tryambakam yajamahe Sugandhim pushti-vardhanam Urvarukamiva bandhanan Mrityor mukshiya mamritat. Om Tryambakam yajamahe Sugandhim pushti-vardhanam Urvarukamiva bandhanan Mrityor mukshiya mamritat. Om Tryambakam yajamahe Sugandhim pushti-vardhanam Urvarukamiva bandhanan Mrityor mukshiya amritat. Very nice. So that is a chant for healing, and we always, or almost always, traditionally put Om at the beginning of our chants because that is the sound of universal connectedness, a sound that encompasses all other sounds. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you want to see the lyrics again, take a look in the description. Okay, so with that, we're going to come to our first position. So coming onto your mat a little bit backward towards the back if you can, walking out our legs, shaking them out as we're unfolding for the first time in a few minutes here. So here you should still have a straight spine, and we're gonna start with Paschimottanasana, which is the one-legged forward bend. So I know a lot of athletes do this. A lot of people are familiar with this when they stretch, but it's actually a yoga pose as well. So we're going to bring our left leg into our thigh. So if this feels good for you, this is also one variation to just keep your hand on your thigh that isn't bent and just keep a straight spine here and do some deep breaths. However, if you would like to do the full posture, from here, we're going to keep a straight spine and let our navel come down along our leg, kind of reaching towards our toes. We don't have to make it quite all the way there. You can grab your foot, you can grab your ankle, your shin, or below the knee, wherever is feeling comfortable for you. And just kind of lean into this. Again, keeping your spine straight. You should not have a curved back. And just breathing in. So remember to thank yourself for coming to the mat today, for taking the time out of your busy life to do yoga. And especially yoga for happiness, which is something we all need more of, right? So as you're down here, I hope you can just smile to yourself. You know, take it lightly if you can't stretch all the way. It's not saying anything bad about your body. In fact, it's just where you are right now. That's okay. And you can kind of give yourself a little massage up and down your leg if that feels good. I know you'll see me doing that. Okay, and taking another deep breath in. Exhaling when you're ready. And we are going to bring our legs back up here into the bound ankle pose, or otherwise known as butterfly. Just bringing both of the bottoms of your feet together and your legs spread out to the sides. So this is something I think most people know as well from school, butterfly. You say butterfly your legs. So if that feels good, you can kind of just move them up and down. You could lean forward if that feels good to you as well. Taking another yoga pose. And just going with whatever feels good for your body. That's really the most important thing one of the most important things in yoga is really to listen to yourself and to feel good about yourself and feel unity. Excuse me, cat. Okay, so from here, we're going to go into having our right leg bent and our left leg out towards in front of us. Okay, so again, here you can stay with the first variation of just having your hands on the thigh, or you can bend forward, grabbing your leg at any point, keeping a straight back, no curve. And in fact, here I'll say that your knee can be bent if that's what's comfortable for you. Don't feel like your leg has to be completely straight. It is nice to get a nice little energy flow through your foot. So having that upright instead of kind of falling down as it naturally does. So here we're going to take about 5 breaths. Just really coming into our own bodies and into this practice instead of rushing anything. And while you're here too, I want you to think about something nice or good that's happened to you today, something that's brought you happiness. Because I know there's always a small thing, even in the midst of a hard day. All right, once you've finished your 5 breaths, come up at your own pace. You're massaging your leg again if that feels good. Coming back into our down angle pose or butterfly pose. Just getting a little movement through our hips, through our thighs, through our knees. Here too, it's important that you're sending energy through your fingers. And if we're doing something that's really a sitting pose, we can still have energy flowing through our spine, through all of our upper chakras, as well as the root chakra. All right. So now we are going to go into another stretch, which is half Lord of the Fishes pose, or otherwise Ardha Matsyendrasana. So we can start by moving our left leg forward and putting it in front of your foot, and then taking your right leg and you have to do a little bit of shifting here. So shifting it so that is under us. So I think you can see it probably better. And then move your other leg, your left leg, in as close to your knee as feels comfortable for you. So this pose is really going to look different on each different body. So this is what it looks like for me. And if that doesn't feel good, you can always stay in your easy seated pose and twist that way. But here, if that's feeling good for you, you're going to take your left arm, bring it up into kind of a half cactus look, and then take it to the inside of your left knee. And then from there, you can bring your right hand down to the mat behind you. And then take your gaze over your right shoulder. So again, if this doesn't feel good to you, if there's any problem in your neck, you can decide that for yourself, how to modify. With the traditional pose, you will look over your right shoulder. And while you're there, try to really deepen your pose with each breath in. So as you're deepening, don't try to strain your body, but rather deepen by sending some energy through your 5 fingers, spreading them out on the mat, or deepen by keeping this grip from your elbow near your knee and making it so that your thigh is also included in the stretch, not just your side body. Very nice. So maybe take one more deep breath in, really feeling this pose. And then exhale, release. And we're going to change sides. So you can start coming out of this, of course, by turning your head, releasing your right arm, but then releasing your left arm as well, bringing that towards the ground and kicking out your leg that's on top, kicking out your other leg, kind of just getting some of that energy out. I know some of us might feel numb a little bit, just kind of feeling how that is. And then we're going to do our opposite leg, bringing the right leg underneath us to the side, the left leg over to the extent that it feels good, and then bringing our right elbow to cactus and then over, pressing into the side right there. So again, bringing your gaze over to your left shoulder and deepening as we inhale. And here on another inhale, you can try exhaling with the Bhramari or Honeybee breath if that sounds good to you. So that's bringing our focus back as well. So maybe take one more inhale if that feels good for you with the Honeybee breath, and exhale. And when you're ready to release, bring your body back to center, kind of just shaking it out on the different levels, maybe your feet, your hands, wherever you really need to in your body. Very nice. Okay, so now we're going to come to our first standing poses at the top of your mat. Here I'm going to change my camera angle very quickly. You might hear the cats in the background. All right, so we're going to come into Tadasana, mountain pose. In this pose, you're going to have your feet about shoulder width apart, firmly grounded into the mat. So you should feel all 4 points of the feet on the mat, and you should also be able to lift your toes up and wiggle them. If you're not there, that's okay, but that's the goal, is to start from the foundation up. So here we are going to just have our palms facing forward, our shoulders down, our spine straight, our feet very firmly planted. And just take a breath in here and smile. Releasing some endorphins and some happiness through the body. Breathing in again. And here you can also, as you breathe in, arch your back. Shoulders are still down, but your back is arched if that's okay for you. And we're going to start a round of Surya Namaskar, otherwise known as the sun salutation. So we begin by being in mountain pose. Again, feet are firmly grounded. I've just changed my position. And then we're going to breathe in and around, bringing our arms up to the top. These are back arched. And exhaling through center with our arms coming to heart center. Let's try that one more time. So as you're exhaling and your hands are coming to heart center, you also should be straightening your spine from the little back bend that happens as we're in mountain pose. So one more time, breathing in. And releasing. So now we're going to bring our body slowly down into our forward fold, Uttanasana. So I know it's a little hard to see me right now. So here it might feel nice for you to ragdoll by grabbing your two elbows and shaking side to side while you're in your forward bend. You might want to loosen up your neck with a few small movements side to side. And this will get a little bit faster as we go into our next rounds. But now let's just take really time to enjoy this. You know, feeling a little silly as imagining rag dolls or childhood toys. And if you want here, if your back's not feeling too well, you can just come into a half forward bend or Ardha Uttanasana. So that means you're putting your hands above your knees on your thighs and having your back still bent. And here you can still do the ragdoll, you can still do the nodding with your head, and also just really letting the energy come through your feet, remembering our feet as we're here. So as we're in the forward fold, you're going to place your hands onto the mat in front of you and move your right foot backwards into kind of like a runner's lunge, but you're going to let your right knee kiss the ground, kiss the mat, and from there you're going to come up onto your fingertips and with your shoulders down, opening up the heart chakra towards the sky. Coming back down to our hands, we're going to release, we're going to inhale first, and then release our left foot back into plank and hold the breath here if you're not pregnant and have no blood pressure problems, excuse me. So here, stay there for as long as you can, maybe rock back and forth a little bit. And when you're ready, exhale into downward facing dog, Ardha Matsyendrasana. So with down dog, you can walk out your feet a little bit. If that feels good, you can shift your hips from side to side, finding what feels good for you here. It's different for every person. And your shoulders should really be relaxed. They should not be near your ears at all. And you can have a bend in your knees. Don't feel like you need to have completely straight legs at all. Very nice. So from here, we're going to come back into our plank. And from there, release your knees, chest, and then chin. I know it's a little difficult to see me. So here, you're going to come up into Bhujangasana or Cobra pose, which is just a little bit of a bend in your chest with your elbows close to your sides, turning the head from side to side, adding a hiss if you want to be silly, feeling happy with our silliness and our time to be ourselves. And then from there, you're going to come back up into downward dog once again. Okay, excellent. So we're going to come back into our plank and we're going to send our left leg forward to between our hands. We're going to let our right leg kiss the mat and then come up again onto our fingertips, facing the sky, breathing in here, letting the heart chakra open. And taking one deep inhale for a final exhale. And then we're going to let our feet meet between our hands. And then come back into our forward bend, Uttanasana, or our half bend, depending on how our back is feeling today. Shake out our head, our neck, and slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, come up, roll up to standing again in mountain pose. With your head being the last thing up. And that was our first sun salutation or Surya Namaskar. All right, so we're going to repeat this a little bit faster 2 more times. So again, beginning in mountain pose, breathing in, and our arms are up and around and our hands are coming to heart center. We're going to bend down to forward bend or half bend, place hands on the mat, bring the right leg backwards, kiss the knee, let our fingertips come up so that we are shining our heart. Come back down to the mat, retain our breath and come into plank. Rock back and forward if we want to. Come into downward dog. Coming back into plank. Bringing our right leg forward into between our hands for our kind of half lunge. Kissing the left knee. Coming up to shine our hearts. Coming back down with our hands to the ground, lifting our knee. Bringing it back to plank, retaining the breath if we're able to. Back to downward dog. Walking it out if that feels good. Shifting our hips if that feels good. Coming back to plank. And then dropping our knees, chest, and then chin. Coming up into cobra. We can come into full cobra or baby cobra depending on how we feel. And then from there, coming back into our plank, coming back into downward dog, walking the feet off the mat, hopping or jumping if that's preferred. And then we are meeting here in forward fold and slowly rolling up to our mountain pose, Tadasana. Very nice. I know that was a big shift in pace, so let's try it one more time and see if we can get Surya Namaskar sequence. All right, we're in mountain pose, breathing up and around. Releasing through center, coming to our half bend or forward bend, planting the hands, setting the right leg backwards, tapping the knee, breathing upwards, shining the heart, planting the hands, retaining the breath, coming to plank, coming into down dog, coming into plank, having our left foot come forward between the hands, moving it up if we haven't reached quite the destination we wanted, which is me most of the time. And then tapping the right knee to the ground, kissing it, otherwise, is how we say that. Shining the heart, coming back to the mat with our hands, leg up, back to plank, and then to down dog, walking the feet out. Breathing in here, and exhaling. Breathing in, coming to plank and retaining if we're able, and then breathing out, knees, chest, and then chin. Breathing in for baby cobra or full cobra. And then coming up once again into down dog and walking, jumping, or hopping to our feet between our hands, our forward bend, and then coming up vertebra by vertebra. Whew. And I am sweating, but I'm feeling really happy just to be here today and have the opportunity to teach. So I'm going to invite everyone after that sequence to come back into the mat, sitting down. And I'm going to change once again my camera position just to see if you can see me a little bit better. I think my face is probably completely dark in this video. Okay. So I know that was a little bit stimulating. So here we're going to come into a few more poses that are going to help us to focus on kind of releasing emotions, opening our heart chakra, and just feeling very nice and experiencing happiness. So first, come onto your mat, and I'm going to ask you to lie down. To do that a little slowly, you can kind of just roll your spine down and kind of bring your knees into your chest to neutralize the spine. You can give yourself a little massage there if that feels good. And then bring your legs down onto the mat. And from here, you're going to basically coming into the bound angle or butterfly pose, but the reclined version. So this is I'm forgetting the Sanskrit, but it's Suptha Baddha Konasana. So You can bring your heels together if they allow you to. You may, depending on your body, your knees might be touching the mat. They might be lifted in the air. They might look a little bit more like this. But just having your bottoms of your feet touch wherever they can. For me, I'm a few inches off the ground. Can't really see in the video. So here, if it feels comfortable, you can have your hands on your navel and your heart, or you can just have them on the side, on the ground. Another variation is to push a little bit through your thighs to let the energy flow. So here, your shoulders should still be relaxed. Your back and spine should be pressed to the ground. And your energy is really flowing through every point here, through your fingers, through your toes, your legs. The crown of your head is on the ground, and you're feeling good, hopefully. And here, just taking a few deep breaths in and out. If it feels nice, you can smile to yourself. Think about something that makes you laugh. Taking that focus away from any negative thoughts that might be passing through our brains into something nicer. One trick for just replacing negativity in your life is really filling up space and time with positivity. So that's something that yoga can really be a great practice for. All right, so here we're going to come out of this pose once it feels good for you. Now, some people who might have their legs at different lengths can more easily come into this, which is the wind releasing pose or wind relieving pose. So here you're going to have your bottom leg on the mat and stretched out with your legs really not worrying so much about being straight as much as just being comfortable for you. So then you take your left knee, and it's pretty much towards your chest as far as it can go. That might be here, that might be here, wherever, and just experiencing a really nice flow of energy through your body. And it's really nice to hug it into your chest, but if that's not good for you, then you can always have your hands on your mat with the energy flowing through the 5 fingers. Very nice. And so however it feels nice to you to shake out your leg, you can do that right now. I kind of just do a little bit of kicking and kind of circling too. And then bringing that left leg to the floor. And bringing the right one up first, maybe kicking out before I even bring it to towards my chest. And wind releasing pose for the other side. Our right side body. Very nice. So just relaxing here a little bit. Again, as you're in these different postures or asanas, you can really just do whatever breathing is good for you for this theme. So you can do the focusing breath of Bhramari or Honeybee with the sound, or do the lion breath and kind of bring some silliness and happiness into your day. Whichever stage you're at is totally great. And I'm kind of going to do the bunny breath while I'm here for a few more seconds. All right, so if it feels nice to you, another variation of this is to bring your head towards your knee, which some people are able to do if they're a little bit more flexible, but it's really not necessary to get the full benefits of the pose. So just be aware of that in the future. Bringing your head back down if you just tried that little variation, letting your shoulders ground. We're gonna come back to having our legs up like this with our feet both pressed towards the ground. And slowly, if you're able to do the happy baby pose or Ananda Balasana, which actually translates to blissful baby in Sanskrit, we're going to grab the outsides of our feet. And note that there are a lot of variations here depending on where you're able to reach and what feels good for you. So you could grab just below your knees, just above your knees, or you can come here closer to your ankles. You can grab your sides of your feet. And happy baby is really fun because you can do what you want with it. You can rock back and forth, which is what I really like to do, kind of rolling up the spine, getting rid of any points of tension. Some people even kind of roll themselves into a plow pose or halasana right here. Or you can come side to side. Very nice. Very nice. So whatever you want to do there, remembering to breathe, remembering to smile, to acknowledge negative thoughts, but replace them with some positive affirmations. Like, I am a kind person, I am compassionate, I am intelligent, I am beautiful. Whatever you need to hear right now, because you know that is the truth. And when we're ready, we're going to rock back up into sitting in our easy seated pose. And from there, we are going to actually come into Vajrasana, or sitting between the heels pose. So for this, you're going to take each leg back behind you and kind of to the side. You kind of have to roll forward onto your hands to bring the other leg out. So really, this is just exactly what the name says, sitting between the heels. We're just letting our energies flow down our lower chakras right now, as well as just kind of balancing out what we've been doing a lot with the midriff, a lot with the lower body, but not paying so much attention to it with our words. So here, just rolling out, massaging your thighs and anywhere on your legs that you'd like to. Focusing on how this feels in your body as you have been trying to maintain a straight spine and shoulders down for a lot of these poses, letting energy flow through your fingertips, through your toes, the different points of your feet. Focus on how you're feeling in your body. And maybe instead of focusing on anything that might ache or be sore, which we almost always have, you can focus on whatever's feeling really, really good from this practice. What in your body is bringing you happiness right now? And for me, I know I'm just feeling really, really nice around the third eye, or ajna. I'm feeling really a release of tension there. No sort of lingering headache or any of that right now, which is good for me. And if that same example is not true for you, just try to identify something feeling nice on your body. Very nice. So when you're ready, we're going to come into child's pose, which we can do kind of just by pivoting and coming first into our tabletop position, rocking back and forth a little bit, which is enjoyable, shaking it out. And then coming either to having our knees together and legs together and sitting backwards onto our thighs with our navel really, really extended and then pressed down into our thighs. And then our head coming to the rest of our forehead on the mat, which is traditional Balasana, or child's pose. Or if we're feeling really tight in our hips, or perhaps it's not feeling so nice to have our navel directly on our thighs, you can actually do a variation called extended child's pose, where you take your knees to the sides of the mat and really just sink onto your heels with your chest opening up, your hands and arms extended and reaching out, and your forehead still coming to the mat. And while we're here, we're going to breathe out and in for a few breaths. Again, you can choose whatever breath style you like, just regular breaths or one of our kind of specialty ones that have a lot of benefits that are specific to our practice today. Just staying here for a few more breaths. All right, and with one more deep breath in and releasing all the way, smiling to yourself as you do, we are going to come slowly, however feels good to us, onto our back. I like to kind of come into my elbows here and then walk out my knees and just kind of roll slowly onto my back into Savasana, Savasana, or final resting pose, corpse pose otherwise known. And here, just ground your whole body into the mat. Your hands are splayed out. Your hands are traditionally facing upwards to the sky with all 5 fingers having energy flowing through them. And your toes and your feet can kind of just splay out. Just relax here. So here, we're going to breathe in for 7 seconds. Breathe in happiness, breathe in light. Kind of imagine just some bright white or yellow light in front of your eyes as you do this. And then breathe out Ujjayi, ocean breath, which is with your mouth open and kind of through your throat, or if that's not feeling well today, through your mouth. A really big sigh. And breathing out the negativity. So breathing in with me here. Happiness, light. Keep breathing in. Inhale, inhale. And then releasing Ujjayi. That's named after the noise that it makes, which sounds kind of like the roaring ocean. And, you know, wherever your happy place is, you can imagine that, whether it's the ocean or some other scenery in your mind, if that sounds better than this light. So breathing in again, happiness. Releasing Ujjayi. Coming in for one final breath together. Happiness in our visions. Breathing out. And now I'm just going to leave you here to enjoy corpse pose for about 3 minutes. Trying to relax and enjoy your final resting pose. So as you stay there in your Savasana for another minute or two, I'm just going to introduce some soothing music. So don't be surprised. And again, while you're lying here, I invite you to identify what feels good in your body, what today's practice has benefited. And not just sticking to our physical bodies, what in your mental patterns has been really given a sense of joy or bliss. We all have things that we can work on and improve in ourselves, and yoga is a practice for doing this, but also for releasing what's beyond our control, and for identifying that we are trying, and that we are really succeeding in uniting with ourselves when we do this practice. So when you're ready for it, slowly bring yourself up into easy seated pose, Sukhasana. Before you just, suddenly roll over, just letting yourself come up slowly, really feeling the energy flow through you as you do so. Breathing in and out still. And joining me here in Sukhasana. And I do invite you also to take your index and thumb together, bringing really an invitation for a higher form of energy to come through you. Coming back to a straight spine and shoulders down as we end our practice, hopefully with some relief, some happiness, some practices for focus and for release as we go about our lives. I invite you to watch this video again if you'd like to in the future, to revisit these practices and to really just applaud yourself for your efforts here today. So closing the eyes if it's comfortable, breathing in to join on a collective Om. Thank you so much for being here today. The light in me acknowledges the light in you. Namaste.